Greetings, disc golf fans. Welcome to the 2022 Down East Players Cup. This is Gatekeeper Media's coverage of the Round 1 MPO feature card. I'm Andrew Fish, joined in the booth by Nick Hanson.
Hey Fish, it's good to see you and great to be here with you today.
Yeah, good to be seen. Great to be here. We are at West Meadowbrook Park in Greenville, North Carolina. If you call it that, the locals are going to treat it like it's a mom calling a full name for dinner. They're going to call it the Meadow.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful track we're on today. Some good tight shots, some gaps that you throw out of and into the open, and vice versa. So I'm excited for it.
Yeah, really solid mix. Bunch of par threes, couple par fours, and even a par five mixed in there. And a really solid regional field here.
Yeah, we have quite the stacked field, I would say, for a late season event.
Yeah, and that's highlighted by Scott Conway, pretty much the localest of locals here. Scott's the 2021 winner of this same event, and he's very experienced, and I'm excited to see how he attacks the course.
Yeah, we also have Nate Perkins, sponsored by Discmania on our card here. Nate is known around the tour for his commentary and his play, along with the clinics he does. He's going to be throwing that growl, I bet, a lot today.
Yeah, for sure. Gavin Rathbun, also sponsored by Dynamic Discs, very strong player. He's got all the tools, plenty of distance, and I know he's got a solid putt.
He is a very solid putter. Anything inside 50 is considered a make for him. And myself on the card last year, touring with the Gatekeeper team. I've been on their feature cards for a number of their A tiers and looking to have a good performance here today.
Yeah. So what are we looking at on hole one?
So hole one, we really have a gap here that most players are just going to want to get through that gap and then get up here and make sure they get their three on hole one. But if you can flex something as a right hand backhand, you'll be able to get it up inside the circle.
Yeah, for sure. Scott's going to take a fairway driver to start. And definitely gets that flex shape, but not quite enough integrity to get back.
A little bit more wind today than we saw in the practice this week, I would say.
Mm-hmm. And Nate's going to get backed up early. He's still in the middle with a chance to get up and down for his par. I love how quick Gavin is. That's pretty much based.
That is great. That is exactly how you want to start. 3-foot birdie putt.
And look at this cutie. We have two long hairs on the card today.
New style today. Sunglasses and no hat.
Mm-hmm. Fairway driver, driven well. Oh, Nick.
Started the tournament with an ace. He's so nice.
You couldn't have thrown it a little higher or harder?
It's a good start to the tournament, I'll say.
Yeah, no doubt.
Got the replay here, and thankfully it's just sticks right next to the basket after that hit.
Yeah, for sure.
Sometimes they hit and roll, and you're outside the circle after hitting the basket.
All right. Nate with a good skip shot. A lot of these greens play really fast because of pine needles.
I was noticing that in my warm-ups, and kind of tried to use it to my advantage on some of these holes.
Yes, but you'll also get fooled because there's a really sandy base underneath. So, you might play for the skip and not get it, or vice versa.
Yeah, some of the greens, especially where they've been, more tracked down and have more erosion.
Right, definitely. Oh, Nate, buddy. That's kind of a heartbreaker. Like, you do all that good work to get up there for your par, unable to cash in. So you hit the basket and don't get the CTP on the card?
Right? Crazy how that works, but that'll happen when you play with Gavin Rathbun.
Yeah, right?
It's always nice to get that first birdie out of the way.
Oh, absolutely. Like positive momentum. I'm under par, like money in the bank.
All right, hole 2, 435 feet, it's a par 3. Really, you just want to get out of this gap. You're going to have OB right and left. So most players are just going to kind of push it towards where it pinches and then go for the jumper. Let's see what we got here.
Yeah, this was definitely one of the harder holes on the day. I think there were only 6 birdies in the MPO field of 56.
Yeah, that number doesn't surprise me one bit, actually.
And certainly far more 4s and even 5s.
I thought it would be fewer, to be honest.
Gavin with a fairway driver shot. That's out to circle 2's edge, maybe.
Yeah, but he's really close to that OB on that edge.
Mm-hmm.
It's just outside the concrete is where the line is.
You're kind of throwing just a stable fairway out to the right, making sure to push it to the right side.
Yep, just and then have it hyzer back at the end.
Yeah.
Give myself a 90-foot upshot to get my 3.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Scott. He's still out in the open. And there's a lot of room on that right side.
Nate, unfortunately, going to be hitting early again and going to have to scramble for his par.
Yeah, not the start he's looking for. Goes back to the forehand.
This looks looking nice, though.
Yeah.
Pops right over that OB, and he's going to be inside the circle. Hopefully get his par.
Yeah, good committed shot. This is a really, really good pro level par 3. Like you could see this kind of shape and pinch point on the tour.
And as you see, the OB is well deep there.
Mm-hmm.
Can come into play on these upshots if you're not careful. Myself from about 90, like I said, and just pitching it up there under the basket with my polecat.
No thought of going for it?
No, it's too early in the event. I don't feel like I need that stroke, and I don't want to lose one for no reason.
Right, for sure. From back that far, it's almost like only harm can come from that.
Yeah, what is it? 1 in 40, 1 in 50 maybe during a round? Oh, Nate.
Just kind of a nightmare start. Like
Yeah, early left again.
Mm-hmm. Scott with that 12-6 putt. Very nice.
Looks like Gavin's taking on the old Dan Schlitter putting warm up there with the wide arms and 2 putters.
I mean, they're both Illinois guys, right?
They are.
Homies?
I would assume, but I don't know for sure.
Do you find that you pick up the habits of people you play with? Like, not everything, but just like one or two little things that work?
Oh, I totally feel that way. And
Yeah.
Same thing with like styles on like where you came from.
Yeah.
Here we are at hole 3, 284 feet. It's a very tricky par 3 with OB on the right and the left. It's almost like a little hook shot.
Yeah, it's so far around the corner that you either need to go like hugging very tight over stable, and I think Gavin's done that perfectly. Yeah, inside the circle. Or you need to go directly underneath the branch.
Yeah, I agree with that. Myself going with a fairway driver.
You're going to play for the big skip.
I just kind of left it a little wide there. I'm trying to play under the tree like you talked about, the
Right.
second line.
Wow. I hadn't thought of a thumber.
Yeah, Scott blew all our minds with this shot, I would say.
He's very backhand dominant. Doesn't like to go to the forehand unless he absolutely has to. But, when you play Woods, North Carolina golf, you got to have, something that can move right for you.
Plenty of tricks are needed.
Good shot by Nate. The three of you are kind of in that like collection zone where a lot of forehands are going to end up.
Right. I just juiced my putt a little bit there. Or early round jitters. Wanting to get it to the bucket and just got it over it.
Nicely done by Nate. Good correction from the previous couple holes.
That is a great putt to get him hopefully started here for the rest of his round.
Oh, Scott. And the character of this course is such that you have to get your scoring done early and late because there's a bunch of holes in the middle that, you know, they're scoreable. You can get them, but they can also pile up some big numbers.
They're tough. There's like that, 5-hole stretch?
Yeah.
I'd say.
So
maybe even 6 holes.
I
all
think
the way to like the par 5.
Yeah. I think you're looking to, you know, score on like the first 6 and the last 4 or so.
A little low on left side, but she's still in there.
Yeah, no pictures on the scorecard, but unfortunately we've got durable video evidence of that.
We do. We're on to hole 4. It's a 405-foot par 3. It's dead straight off the tee, but you're going to see a lot of players flexing either a forehand or a sidearm, or a backhand or a sidearm to get into the green.
Yeah, this is a little bit of an awkward distance. It's playing slightly downhill. You absolutely have to make this gap. And then, you know, you have to be low enough to push 70 feet or so into the tree line. So for a lot of open players, you're between a fairway driver and going full distance to keep it low.
I would agree. Gavin's going to find himself about circle's edge, probably circle 2. Or pin high circle's edge.
Decent by Nate, but that's probably just 3 zone. You're back to the same disc that you threw on hole 2, is that right?
Yep. Just throwing a pretty... So it's almost neutral at this sea level.
Okay. Back in Colorado, though?
Yeah, it's very stable.
Wow. Very nice to drift to the right. That'll get you pin high.
Yep.
Circle's edge, maybe?
As well. Yep. I think just right inside of Gavin.
Mm-hmm. Scott, a little bit of an Anheuser release, gets it to ride to the right, and that's flexing back right to the bucket.
Yeah, that's that shot I really was referencing in the whole preview that just slides right up there.
Nate, all wrist on that. Nicely done. Wow, that's so direct from like 45 feet.
Yeah, that was a lot further than I thought it was. And getting a replay for good measure and never left that line once it left his hand.
Yeah, and the thing that really interests me about that putt is that it didn't really ever seem to get above the basket. It just carried the entire way. Like, compare that to how you're putting or how Scott would putt, where you're going to start it well above the basket and let it drop.
Yep.
Again, able to knock in a par.
Yeah, I have trouble with my straddle usually. Something I got to work on a little more.
What do you think it is?
I think it's just how I get my shoulders like aligned once I'm in there. I think I'm lined up, but I think I'm probably more open than I need to be, and that's why I miss right.
Yeah.
Whereas I almost need to close that shoulder off a little more, so I'm more straight up and down with the pole when I swing my arm.
Yeah, for sure.
Discover Greenville, North Carolina, where we put whole hog Q on the map and inspiration lives on every corner. Unplug for a moment of tranquility or enjoy one of our parks, fields, greenways, or trails. Then recharge with fresh, local flavors, one-of-a-kind art galleries, and toe-tapping music. North Carolina's Emerald City is filled with countless hidden gems. Find yours in Greenville, North Carolina.
All right, folks, and here we are at hole 5. 397 feet, It's a big power hyzer for most players. There is going to be a mando tree on the left-hand side, just to kind of protect one of the other fairways. Realistically, though, it shouldn't come into play, I would say.
Yeah, you hope not. Actually, the foul pole is what scares me, as Gavin just barely clears it. If you hit that, everyone in the park knows what you did. Wow, what a shot.
Yeah, Gavin is showing us how to throw the disc here, looking like he's going to be 4 through 5.
Definitely. Some local knowledge here from Scott. He was telling me that the way he plays this hole, he doesn't have quite the power that Gavin does, so he wants to push it straight as far as he possibly can, because if it comes in on hyzer, it just kind of digs into the hillside. It's like there's a shelf, and then it goes back up to the basket, and skips don't really happen.
You don't really see it, but this hole is a little bit uphill.
Yes, yes. And you're throwing just a wonderful hyzer that's holding. Tell me about that roll.
That was gross. That was going to be under the basket, I think.
Yeah, you were going to get all the speed killed with sand.
That's exactly it. That was the sand where it doesn't have pine needles out here. And just like that one, it just checked up instantly.
Yeah. Nate able to recover from a pretty errant tee shot. Yeah.
It's a good
That's huge.
good comeback from the last hole. About the same length straddle putt, I would say.
Mm-hmm. And also the comeback from knowing what happened on your drive. Were you able to see the reaction off the tree?
I did see it.
Yeah, and that can... Oh, Scott. Thinking about how a round's momentum goes, if you let that tree hit get in your head, you start feeling sorry for yourself about, I threw a good shot and didn't get a good reaction.
Yeah. So that's actually one thing I've been working on really is trying not to be so results driven. If I know I did what I wanted to do correctly or within, a 5% range of error, then I need to be okay with whatever the result is, even though I got that unlucky break.
Right. Easier said than done, though.
Very easier. But we got to work on it. We got to practice it. So here we are at hole 6. It's a 414-foot par 3. Once again, it's a dead straight hole, really, but the shot of the hole is going to be left to right for the backhand player that then kind of, just hyzers in back to the basket.
Yeah. We see Gavin with a little bit of an anhyzer release, but he never quite gets it right of the basket.
Yeah, it's just going to fade out early, and being on the right side of the green is where you want to be because it's open over there. The left side and the front side are all going to be scattered with trees.
Right. It's skill that puts you on the line to the basket, but uncertain whether you're going to get all the way through. You've gotten that right side. Now you need to hook up.
Oh, yeah.
Holy cow, Nick.
So you can't see it from that angle, but I actually got a very, very generous tree kick.
Okay.
I'll admit that one. It was going to stay right if it didn't hit that.
Gotcha.
But we'll take those, right?
Every time. I think we have to, or re-tee with a penalty stroke.
This is true.
Scott, anhyzer release, getting it to drift. And he's going right through the front door to park it as well.
He throws some of the lines that are like the dedicated line today, where like most of the players just throw the easy hyzer, but he's throwing the dead straight shot, and it was really fun to watch.
Do you think that's like just Scott's identity as a player, or is that local knowledge where he's optimized what he has to do?
I would say it's both.
Okay.
Would be my opinion.
Nice little chip there, my Nate, nearly dunking for 2. And kind of a weird stance for Rathbun. And we've seen Scott struggle a little bit with putting. His last one was kind of low, not getting all the way there. That one high in the chains and center.
Yeah, it's good to get a few to drop early. I hate when it's a roller coaster where you make one, then you're off, and then you make one, and then you're low. And
Yeah. And pretty solid here. By this point in the round, you're about to start going into the harder holes. And, you know, if you're under par, like, you're going in the right direction.
Yeah, 7 is where the hard holes start. And here we are, par 4, 679 feet. Players are going to be throwing out into this open and then trying to attack the green here. OB right and left, and then it's going to circle around the basket here. OB on the backside is probably about 35, 40 feet deep, I would say. Here I am. I'm going to be throwing the same disc as earlier, the Helio Scorpius, and just on a real power hyzer, trying to get into the fence on the backside.
Yeah. So this is full distance driver for you, yeah?
Yep.
And if you get to that tee pad, any of these tee pads up in the middle, like, you're now in a great opportunity to throw just a hyzer into the green.
Right.
So you're using the stability and speed of your disc to push through the gap and not have to track right into the parking lot.
Yep.
Oh, what a little squibbler.
Ooh, wow. I thought from the tee it looked like it kicked back in, but that one just barely jumped in.
Yeah, you don't have to count on that. And
You love those breaks.
I imagine Gavin's kind of doing the same thing as you. Ooh, he doesn't clear the corner. Just like using that entire fence as a big catcher's mitt and knowing you get a meter of relief.
Yeah. The other thing I'm trying to do is throw it on the angle, so even if it's too low, it'll still skip nice.
Right. This is like an open, grassy fairway. Little bit sun-baked, so it skips like a mother.
Yes. As long as you have it on a good angle, it's going to skip for you. It's almost like playing winter golf.
Okay, Gavin's back here at probably 425, able to go hyzer and up to circle's edge. That is huge.
Great recovery from back there.
Little slip by Perkins. Gives it the good width. And yeah, that's wonderful. Gives Nate a chance to get back to even.
And Scott, unfortunately, is going to be right behind this pole, so he had a very awkward stance with his meter relief there.
Yeah, everything about this is weird. Like,
And unfortunately, he's going to get into that early OB there on the left.
Yeah, unable to get full power on the drive. And what kind of disc are you throwing? I've never been this close, so I have no idea.
This is a mortar.
Okay.
So I'm throwing it to try and just get those 1-2 skips into the basket, so that way I'm not airing it and potentially airing it over the basket.
Right.
No.
Oh.
Scott very aggressive from back there. He's still going to be inbounds, but probably back to circle's edge on the backside.
Yeah. Par save attempt goes long for him. And something about Gavin's legs didn't strike me there as, like, able to push all the way through.
Yeah, it just didn't look like he got to that finishing release point.
Mm-hmm.
Scott getting a bogey, unfortunately, but a good save at that from back there.
Yeah, yeah. Nate for bird. I imagine you'll do the same. And again, I really like that hole. It gives you, a lot of choices off the tee for how aggressive you want to be. And then you still have to throw a committed professional shot into the green.
And here we are at hole 8. It's going to be a tunnel shot to start. If you can get out of the gap here that we see, you're going to have this look at the basket to hopefully get a 3. This is a very, very tough hole to get out of that gap, I would say, though.
Yeah, the tee shot is 75% of success here.
Going with, the hot hand disc.
Mhm.
So I feel good about it. Might as well keep throwing it. It's
Keep
kind of my
riding it.
mindset.
And sunglasses in the woods, like, this man doesn't care. Gorgeous. that puts you at 200 feet to the bucket and straight look.
You're exactly right. It was actually way closer than in any of my practice rounds.
And Perkins with that forehand. This is such a technical line to get it to drift late.
It was so nasty. I thought it was going to keep going left, and then it just barely caught that limb.
Mm-hmm. That
great shot nonetheless.
Yeah, absolutely. That type of shot is what Nate was throwing at Waco. If you'll remember, he got into a playoff, I think the first year that Waco was on the Pro Tour. And there's that par 4 across the gully that is almost exactly this same kind of shape.
Mm.
Flippy forehand with a driver to drift over and then finish.
Oh, gosh. Get sneaky. Real sneaky.
And Scott yanks it right, but doesn't really pay for it. And takes the responsible choice, just laying up. He'll have an upshot for his 4. And like Shankopotamus for Gav. That's a different species than we've seen out of him the rest of this round.
Yeah, that was not good. He got very lucky off the tee though to even get out there.
Mm-hmm. Scott, I love how committed he is to that Anheuser angle. Like, you see his entire body selling out to get that initial release.
Yeah, and circle's edge, pin high there.
Mm-hmm. So, I know we've spoken about this before. Sometimes it's more difficult when you're in this perfect spot. Tell me about your thought process here.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that's exactly a good way to describe it. Farther up than I had been in any of my practice rounds, and I think like mid run up, I threw it like from muscle memory, and I just threw it pure hyzer past the basket.
Yeah.
Whereas I wanted to release it flat and just kind of soft it there, so it kind of floated in, and as you see, like, thankfully the shrubbery was there. It was probably another 25 feet.
Mm-hmm. Little stability forehand from Perkins there. And what kind of look you got here? Back to the straddle, I see.
Yeah, straddled out. Just a little like spin putt through a window is all. Really just wanted to make sure I get out at this point.
Yeah. I hope that's not a hole that keeps you up at night, though.
No, I'm not worried about that. I mean, it was great to be out there. And it's just an unfortunate miss for an upshot.
Oh, Scott. It seems like he just can't get... He can't put 2 good holes together right now. In for bogey, though. And Nate for his par. Solid scrambles all around. Did you putt with a polecat?
Yeah.
Third?
Yep. Yeah, I'll spin putt with polecat once in a while. All right, here we are, hole 9. It's going to be a tunnel shot that curves left to right. Really a sidearm for the right-hand player, I would say. The backhand is there, but it's a pretty tight flip line.
Oh yeah, the pinch point is really, really tight. And Flick Hanson making an appearance. Way to push it. You almost got it to the corner, but don't really pay. You're in circle 2 now?
Yeah, it was a good shot, but you need to have it flat going through the gap.
Mm-hmm. Good technical forehand. Unfortunately, going to push it too far. Right between you two is a perfect shot. And this is great. Oh, it's not. I can't read.
He's gonna catch that early there, and unfortunately,
As expected, we're going to see Scott backhand. And if you get caught early on this, the angle just doesn't work. Scott's fortunate to have a pretty straight shot, maybe 125, 150.
Yeah, very fortunate to have that look and good execution to get inside the circle.
Mm-hmm. Gavin just never right enough of the basket. It might have been a pure layup, though.
Yeah, kind of like a half bid. If you get enough spin on it, it'll turn over a little.
Yeah, it's... Oh, boy. This basket is just elevated enough where you think about it from 20 feet.
Yeah. Yeah, because here I am about 35, probably just half bidding it is all, and don't even give it a chance then.
Oops.
Might as well lay it up at that point.
Sometimes it would feel better to do that instead of, whiff completely.
Right.
Not surprisingly, this is one of the harder holes on the course as well. Even under 300 feet, it's a challenge to get your disc to break at the right point and then have to make your putt still. Did you have a score number going into the round? Like, were there milestones you wanted to hit?
I really didn't, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't put together the best practice rounds,
Mm-hmm.
and so I just wanted to throw shot after shot and just do the best I could. You know what I mean? Type of
Yeah.
thing.
But you and Gavin tying for the lead on this card right now at 4 down. And Scott and Nate sitting at even with some scoring holes to go. At this point in the round, a lot of folks had started earlier and finished. So don't be fooled. Like, they've played more holes.
Got some good scores there already coming in, though.
Mm-hmm. We thank you very much for watching, and certainly hope that you'll join us on the back nine of this round, as well as round-by-round coverage for MPO coming later in the week.
Thanks, folks. Like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you on the back nine.